It's important to examine recent enforcement cases. One, to understand the regulator's focus and what is their expectations regarding compliance with regulation. It also allows regulated institutions the opportunity to examine their own compliance practices against where the regulator believes others are falling short and not meeting compliance with the legislation. Most regulated institutions don't set out to be non-compliant, and most people working within the regulated institutions are very dedicated in trying to prevent their organisations being used by criminals. The complexity of organisations sometimes creates challenges for them. The implementation of AML-CTF controls is something that in large organisations people sometimes struggle with. I think we're in a situation, or potentially in a situation, where we've had too big to fail. We've then had too big to jail. We may be in a situation with some organisations where you're too big to comply. And that's something that regulated institutions need to focus on to make sure compliance is embedded, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. Firstly, let's underline the fact that AML-CTF is not a set and forget regime. Your business will evolve, your AML-CTF risks will evolve. What is appropriate compliance will evolve over time. That means that whilst you need to understand your obligations, you also need to make sure that your systems of controls are working as designed, and also keep an eye on things as things change throughout the life cycle of compliance. That means basically putting in place appropriate systems and controls to check things are working properly. That's something that certainly a lot of organisations, in my experience, fail to do. The oversight and support by senior management of the AML-CTF regime in a business is vitally important. Globally, the action of senior management, or in some cases the inaction of senior management, has contributed significantly to non-compliance and the management of non-compliance. You don't have to look too far in the legislation to understand that senior management play a vital role, and the fact that they face significant penalties if they don't play that role effectively and efficiently. The level of maturity of AML-CTF in Australia is something that certainly gives me a degree of concern. In 2015 we had the mutual evaluation, which identified significant weaknesses in the regime. That was supported by the statutory review, which identified 84 areas for improvement. To date, we have seen limited progress in relation to fixing some of those issues. Part of the maturity issue not only rests with the regulated institutions, who need to continue to improve and evolve their level of compliance, but also rests with at the door of the regulator and the government. They simply need to provide the support and the guidance that the industry is desperately wanting to basically help the maturity improve.